Good afternoon. How the devil are you? Welcome along. It's another edition of Inspire and Be Inspired. Myself, Andy Ward, coming to you all the way from the Costa Blanca here in Spain. Just after 7 o'clock on Thursday, the 6th of May. I want to thank everybody that's here with me live and, of course, yourself that's coming back to check out the recording. Today, I have a very special guest, someone I am honoured who has given me some of his very valuable time. I go transatlantic and bring him straight onto the stream and welcome Mr. Lars Behrenroth. Lars.
What's up? How are you, man? How's it
Greetings,
going?
greetings. Thank you so much for being here on this Thursday morning. As if you didn't have enough of your time stuck in front of a camera throughout the rest of the week, I decide to steal some of that precious,
Every day.
those precious moments from you. So thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you. You kept the schedule going for me, though. It's always 10 a.m. my time. So it's like, okay, just another day.
Indeed, indeed. We the whole goal of today's chat is for me to discuss the amazing enterprise that you have built up over the last decade and more. We are going to talk about the brand, Deeper Shade of House. We're also going to talk about your live streaming. We're going to talk about how you were doing this way before many of us. And then one or two other topics that I'm sure are going to come along the way.
Sure.
As we're talking, we're going to be interacting with the people in the chat room. I say chat room because, as you know, I'm used to doing pressure radio on a weekly basis. But here, right now, we're talking live on Facebook. So I nearly broke all of my equipment there. You can still hear me, can't you? No stranger to the technical issues.
Every week.
So we're going to begin. There really is no need for a long introduction. Just tell us exactly what's going on with yourself now in the world of Lars and the world of Deeper Shades of House.
I make problems for myself and I make myself busier than I should. So of course, have been doing my show, Deeper Shades of House, for 19 years now. This July, it's going to be 19 years. It's a podcast. It's on several stations. I think we're like at 20 plus or something. It's just a mailing list, and I'm sending them to the stations, and they play it. So, and it's a bunch of them. And on top of that, I now started live streams every Monday, Tuesday, and then I had my Wednesday live stream going. That's since 2009, not necessarily on Wednesday, but my live recordings for my show.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely keeping me busy. So that's the Deeper Shades part. And I am actually very happy where we are. We just remodeled our house last year.
Congratulations.
I had to clear my throat there. So we just remodeled, and now we're in a pretty nice place to be without having to leave necessarily. And I built myself, this studio, which makes me perfectly happy, and I can be in the world without even having to leave the house. So we're doing okay.
Good. Yeah, a man after my own heart. Most definitely a man after my own heart. I did start to say before I almost broke the equipment that we have got a lot of people with us, as you can see, and their comments are going to be rolling up. So if there's anybody at any time when we're talking that you feel that you want to send a shout out to, or any questions or answers that you want to give, then feel free to stop in the middle of that. People will understand that we are deep in conversation. So if I can't at any moment come over to your question or give you a shout out, you'll understand that. Yes, so the brand that you have, and I got to say, Lars, I've met a few people in my time, but not so many who are held with such reverence as yourself. You are highly regarded around the world. A very respected DJ, producer. We were just talking about some technical bits and pieces that hopefully you'll impart some of your knowledge with the people who are watching. How did you get so deep into all of this, and how did you suddenly become so worldly knowledgeable, and how did you take over the world so that everybody loves you?
Hold on, let me lower that cloud for a second, okay?
There you go. That's got to be worth the tip you paid me, right?
Okay. It's, I mean, the whole thing is the music, really, right?
Right.
It's I've always been interested in finding outlets for what I like to do, I guess. I've had music lessons since a very young age. And it was not like, oh, I'm going to become a musician or anything like that. I just really liked that music part, and I liked the instruments, and I liked the rhythm. You know, it's like I think I was four or something. I was playing like the clave sticks in like a little kiddie group, you know, like where the kids go for music lessons and whatnot. And I kind of felt that later. I took organ lessons when I was a teenager, kind of lost interest, but I learned a few things, what things could sound like. Later discovered turntables, you know, in a local dance studio after break dancing. Again, music, you know, I got into dancing because of flash dance. I saw that there's a little breaking scene.
Flash dance. So do you look good in a pair of leggings? Is that what you're telling
No,
me?
it wasn't. See, I skipped that whole dance part. No, there's like that scene. At least this is how I remember it. I haven't seen it since. I don't think there's a scene where she's going, I think, from her job or whatever, and she's walking, and then there's a breakdance crew, and I think it's Mr. Robot. I think that was his name, and he was breakdancing. I went home with my buddy, got a cardboard. I had IOU freeze on a tape, and I took my little boombox, and we got not in this city because we never did it. We just got by the city and started breakdancing without ever having done it. Anyhow,
Right.
little side story. So I've always felt the music. I got into DJing because of the dance school, because I got into real dancing, like Latin dances and standard, like, you know, waltz and all that stuff. But I also became the DJ for Sundays. They had a little tea dance for kids.
Okay.
So it was like 2 in the afternoon. They would close the curtains. And this was in 86. I was 15 years old. That's when I started DJing in front of these kids.
Wow.
Just like, and it was cool. It's like, you know, of course they wouldn't dance. They were all shy and stuff. But I learned how to not read the cloud, but kind of play with the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of realized.
What kind,
Sorry,
so
I'm
what
like
kind
totally
of what kind of music were you playing then? To a tea dance of
that was very interesting, right? So these were our kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it was basically just like send your kids to a club. They're like 10, 11 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can drop them off. There's no alcohol. There's a little bar because it's a dance school. They teach kids to dance anyway. This was overseen by the teacher and whatnot, by the owner. And because I was there on Tuesdays, which was free to do the breakdancing thing, I learned about two turntables. Didn't know about slip mats, by the way.
Okay.
They had the thick rubber mats. This was not a DJ setup. This was a dance teacher setup. Play a record, play another record. That's how I learned how to DJ. So I had the records to play that she had there, the owner, right? So and it was like she tried to keep it like communards, right? Like Don't Leave Me This Way.
Yeah.
Has like a jive rhythm, you know, a fox
Mm-hmm.
disco fox, that kind of. So, or Sade Smooth Operator, you can do like a rumba to it. So you kind of learned that. So anyway, and I bought my own records. That's when it got complicated because I already had a weird taste. I came with like Electric Cafe Kraftwerk, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and you 12-year-olds have no idea what's going on. But I was like, it's my music, and I only got paid $10. That's like half a record a week.
Brilliant.
Anyhow, closed the curtains, turned off all the lights, said, okay, I'm going to leave off the light for 5 minutes, then you guys can start dancing. That's how you manipulate the crowd. That was the first time I learned that. And I turned on the lights, and the floor was packed.
Right. What were the big tunes that got everyone dancing at the time?
Oh,
Do
God.
you remember?
Truth, no.
Because see, at
I
my
only
school,
remember what I played. You know, it was usually the songs that got them going that the kids knew from the dance classes.
okay.
You know, like which like again, it was good. You know, it was like Smooth Operator. It was like you know, like I said, the Communards, that kind of thing. it was okay, but I ended up becoming a DJ from that in a small town, playing for local school dances, discovering acid house a few years later. And the same thing, people came, hey, I have a tape in my car. Can you play this rather? Because I went to the nearest city where I bought like 25 acid house records, and nobody's in my hometown ever heard of that. But I was like, I like this. I never played these. I just got these today. And I just brought it. Plus, I brought my own system, 2 turntables and a little shitty mixer. So from there, radio show much later, 94, and discovered there's online things happening. Like you can actually let people know about what you play. It was first with faxes, right? I used to send faxes with my playlist every week because the radio show was on like a community channel in Hamburg, right? Nobody would know about it. So I'm like, let me let these labels know that I dig what they do. So I sent them faxes with my charts or with my playlists. And back then it was vinyl promos. So some people actually started sending me promos from, the US, and I was still in Germany. And then I discovered in 96, I think, Real Audio. Remember Real Audio? It was the first codec for music where you could basically take a piece of music and turn it into a .ra file, and you could play it back with Real Audio on your computer.
Okay.
That was like before Windows Media. It was like around the same time as what was that? Winamp.
Before QuickTime kind of thing.
Oh yeah. So yeah, and Real Audio was their own kind of company, and that's how I learned to encode things. So I started encoding the shows.
Okay.
So in 96, I basically put DJ mixes online.
Wow.
They sounded like shit, not because of my mixing.
I don't mind you saying that.
Yeah.
That was very, 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 very early then, wasn't it? Internet times. How long did it take you to load something?
I think Real Audio came out in 95.
How long did it take you to upload? How long did it take you to upload a show? Because it was only dial-up back then, right?
Well, Real Audio also was really shitty. 8-bit. I think the files, like a 8-minute song, would be like a megabyte.
Okay. And what was it?
Yeah, Real Player. Real Player was the thing. Yeah.
54 megabytes a second or something, wasn't it? Dial-up back then. Was it even that?
No, I had ISDN.
What?
Yeah. I was into, wait, let me see. 96. I might get my times crossed here.
I think you might be just a tiny bit. Let's not get sucked into it. It's neither here
either
nor
way.
there. Yeah.
No, dude. I was freaking early. Anyhow, so in 98 my show was on streetsound.com. Remember streetsound.com?
Mm-hmm.
They were in New York. So that was basically, that was my first syndication of my radio show outside of the actual radio station.
Okay.
That was 98. Went from there. But yeah, it wasn't live with 96, obviously. Mm-hmm. Live I started doing the end of 98. I started one of the first internet radio stations in Germany, Cyber Radio.
Okay.
Which later became an online TV station. And that's how I also came to the US, met my wife and all that thing. Wow. So always online, loved online. I was DJing this whole time. I was traveling everywhere, but I always liked the online because, the faxes turned into emails, and the emails ended up in people's inboxes who've never heard of me, but got curious because of the music I played. Right. So this all of a sudden just started growing and growing. And at that point, the show eventually ended up on XM radio here in the US.
Okay.
And that's Deeper Shades of House was none of this so far. Deeper Shades of House started basically on a radio station in Berlin, and then was syndicated for XM radio in the US. And that was it. It was only to be heard on Jam FM in Germany or Europe-wide via, what is that, DAB, digital audio broadcast. Mm-hmm. And then in the US on XM radio, but XM radio then, big company, satellite radio, merged with another satellite radio company, and they were more mainstream oriented. So the guy who ran The Move, where my show was on, Louis Barrow, and I, we kind of figured, they're probably going to get rid of the underground programming.
Right.
And that's what we were. I mean, it was a great station. I had my show. There were so many, like Louis really curated well. That's when I started making it available as a podcast, and put it on my website.
So I was right when I said you were a trailblazer. That you were way ahead of your time.
Always trying to just, I mean, I taught myself BASIC in '86, I think. And I had a dial-up modem in '88, and I used to dial into BBS's bulletin board systems across the pond in questionable ways early on.
See the original hacker, allegedly.
Well, I don't call myself that. I have a little bit of knowledge in a few things, but I'm not that. I just know how to research and find out things. Anyway, fun stories all. But the thing is, really, online has been my thing. I like this. I can connect with the world, right? And it's always a number of, or a matter of reach, right? How many people do you reach with your passion? There is a huge amount of people who probably feel exactly the way you do. It's just getting into their house, not physically. I mean,
mostly,
so it's, and that's why it always turned into more, it's always turned into, I do this radio show. Even before it was Deeper Shades of House, I always made room for others. I was like, okay, I play other people's music anyway. Otherwise this show wouldn't exist. I make a little bit of music, but not enough to do a whole radio show.
Right.
So now there are many DJs, like where I was at some point. I did these local competitions, send in a tape to like these little flyer magazines. And if you're good enough, they let you play in a club, and there was nobody there. But it's cool. It's like, oh, cool, I got picked. And so I wanted to give the opportunity to have people play their music on the radio or wherever it would be played, and give them the chance, sent me a mix. So obviously you help yourself and you help your show by booking guests that people know. So they tune in because of those guests. But at the same time, people tune in because of your show. So they learn about other guests they haven't heard of before. It's like a perfect kind of balance.
Yeah.
I always try to give back where I take, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm. Definitely about the content.
Utilize, that's a good word.
Yes. While you take a quick sip, I see a couple of questions coming in, and some of these will be better addressed to Lars a little bit later on. So if you guys, I'm sure you're going to be here to listen to all of this conversation, please feel free to post a question again. Someone was asking about some of your influences and your favorite DJs, Lars. We'll answer that a little later on.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here.
Thinking about it now.
Okay, so please do continue with the timeline.
Where was I? No, but yeah, it's always been that online kind of thing, right? And then Deeper Shades of House, and we were right. The merge of the satellite radio station, basically, they got rid of that entire channel, and I was mad. But at that time, it's been already a couple of years where I made my show online available. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, it sucks, but there wasn't that much growth from that only station, So I've seen a lot more growth since I made the show publicly available as a podcast or as a download. And in the beginning, I only made the download of the first hour available because I didn't go for exclusive guest mixes. It was like, sometimes people tell you, like promoters or bookers is like, here's a mix. It's already played on 5 other stations. And I'm like, okay, I'll play it too. Mm-hmm. But then later I was like, okay, I want exclusive mixes. And then I started making those available on the website.
Okay.
So that's how deepershades.net really started. To
draw the traffic, to give people a reason to be there.
It's my funnel.
Mm-hmm. Great.
It's the main funnel. It's like everything I do, you should end up at deepershades.net.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's
because
a great point that
yeah.
many people do miss out on. They don't have a structure. They don't have an actual a plan of attack. So
Mm-hmm.
just reframe that again of why you do that and why it's so important.
So many different reasons, right? Number one, branding,
Hmm.
right? So yeah, I can mention all the platforms people know, but imagine I run down all the URLs. Join me on Twitch at twitch.tv/. Join me on YouTube. Blah, blah, blah. I just say go to deepershades.net. It's all there,
Yeah.
right? So that's in your head. The branding, deepershades.net, deepershades.net. It's like some people get annoyed by it because I say it a lot, but I can wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and it's like I say Deeper Shades of House. Where do you download? And they say deepershades.net.
Hmm.
So everything can go away. Your own website most likely will not if you keep paying your bills.
Yeah.
That's number two reason, probably on the same level with number one,
Yeah.
right? Because everything can go away. There, MySpace. Imagine you built your life on your MySpace page. And then Tom says, bye, I'm selling this. I've had a good run.
Hmm.
I foresee problems that I let other people deal with in other platforms. So that can go. All of this stuff can go, but your website is going to stay. So if you tell people from day one, deepershades.net, in 25 years, if you paid your bill, something is going to be at deepershades.net. Is there going to be something at twitter.com/deepershades? Probably,
But in a totally
but we
different
don't know.
format. I know it sounds a bit deep and a bit macabre, but I actually gave all of my hosting information to my son Mikey. I said, if anything ever happens to me, you got to keep paying this bill because all my stuff's archived there.
There are, it's actually a thing. There are. It's not my that's not my English expertise. See, English is still my second language. Death, I haven't had that many conversations yet. Um, you can do the estate planning. You can do digital estate planning.
Really?
Yeah, they're basically, you can basically set something up where you can schedule an email
Hmm.
to yourself or to your next of kin or whatever, and that has all of your passwords in it. And if you don't do this, the sleeping man trigger where you say every few months, like, I'm still alive, it's going to get sent to them.
Okay.
But there is actual digital estate planning. You
Oh,
know how Facebook already now have you seen that? Facebook, you can set
yeah.
the person who's going to
A
be in
memorial
charge of your page. Yeah,
memorial page.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's my. I have all of that, and it's very deep. But I think none of us are getting any younger, so we have a hard drive that's linked online as well, and the children
Mhm.
have all the access codes and to all of the important stuff.
You have to imagine the amount of passwords.
Hmm. It's insane.
Ideally, we should have a new password for every website. Ideally,
Hmm. Mine's
let's
just
be honest.
mine's just password. That's just mine.
Mine is password 123.
Okay, well, listen, we're going totally.
Yeah, yeah, I
We're
know,
way
I
too
know.
comfortable for our own good here. Let's get back to your timeline.
Yes,
Put a timestamp on where you're at now.
gotta
More
reel
or
it back,
less. More or
man.
less. Let's not try to be
Right now, I'm
too
in the future.
specific.
Online podcast.
Hmm.
So that's when people. This is funny enough. This is around MySpace time, right? This is when people. Where are we right now? 2004.
Okay.
That sounds MySpacey, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
definitely.
Yeah.
The back end of
So
MySpace.
so
Actually, no,
2000.
sorry. 2009 is kind of like the back end of MySpace.
That's what I was thinking. I
Yeah.
think 2004. I had a release on a German label. Again, I make some music, and that there's a side story to that. The connections are always flying. It's like
Hmm.
I play other people's music on my show, but I also make music, and then you get remixed by people. You meet people who release your music, and then they book you and all that kind of stuff. So, uh, 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 I keep reading questions and I get sidetracked.
Is that putting you off?
A little bit.
Okay.
Because I play it, it's in my own live thing too when I do my live shows.
No worries. Well,
Like,
if you
really
want to,
back in, where was I?
yeah, you were saying about 2004 podcasts.
Yes,
We were
so I
talking about
did
the
music and
timeline.
I did a remix, and I did this remix did very well in South Africa, and it got licensed by Soul Candy, by Mbuso, who did he did the first Soul Candy compilations, which is or was now it's a media company, used to be one of the biggest dance music labels and distributors in South Africa. And just to put it in numbers, they sold 80,000 copies of mix CDs. So one of my remixes got licensed. They licensed it on vinyl. I think they sold like 1,500 copies in South Africa. And they put it on a compilation. So people became familiar with my name because they really liked that remix. Like it really touched them. Funny enough, it's called Touching You. And they must have, at that time, South Africa really got online and they got on MySpace. Like they're now on Facebook, they used to be on MySpace, right? So I got hit up left and right by South Africans, which was like, wow, this is cool. It's like, this is like the furthest away my music has been heard. And they were talking all about like, oh, we're going to book you and I'm going to book you and I'm going to book you next year. And I'm going to, how much do you want? I'm like, okay. Until then, every gig I played or I got offered in the world, there was a 95% chance it would happen and a 5% chance it would fall through. Otherwise, people wouldn't really contact you. You know, they wouldn't just throw out the bait and see what happens. You know, if I got booked in Sweden or if I got booked in whatever, France or Ireland, whatever, right? South Africa, which I learned at a much later time, they were much younger and they were wanting to become promoters and they would say they're going to book you, but they've never done it.
Okay.
But you don't know that. You're on the other side of the world. You know, so they're telling you this and that. So it took me until 2010 to actually make it to go to South Africa. But since then, like in between that span of time, Deeper Shades just grew and grew. Apparently somebody played it like the entire show on like what are those music channels on satellite TV? Music box, you know, usually there's like 100 channels in the end with like dance music and this and that. I think somebody put Deeper Shades of House on one of those on a South African satellite TV provider. I still can't really. Anyhow, I get there and it's madness. It's like craziness. It's like Lars. I'm like, what is going on? You know, I had a little bit of an idea. I got a lot of emails, but I also had kind of dialed myself down because I got a lot of emails from people on Facebook, on MySpace back then later Facebook, who wanted to book you. So many things fell through to the point where, you know, I had already almost booked flights and that kind of stuff.
I get you. Thank you to everyone passing through. Hi to the ladies, to Paulette, to Jean, Cassandra. Also hi to Ray and Pugs as well. Pugs, I have no idea where that shark has come from, mate. I didn't put that there, trust me. I don't know what.
Yeah, I know. I saw that too. That was cool.
Anyway, we'll get over it. So yeah, South Africa to 2010.
So I started doing t-shirts and stuff, you know, because I started my label in 2008, but by 2010 I was like, okay, it's good, it's doing well. What does well even mean, right? For whatever I was expecting at that moment. But I already saw a little bit of a shift in things, and I started selling merch, right? I was like, I'm going and they want something, and I'm not really making CDs. I don't know anybody in South Africa who I would say, okay, here, make 1,000 CDs and then I sell them. I just made t-shirts and I started selling those. Put that stuff on my website too, right? So always trying to add things because it's a radio show that I can't sell. I don't want to sell. I never liked it. I was not a big fan when people just would do mixtapes or mix CDs and then the local radios, the local record stores would sell them. I never understood that concept.
Okay.
So I was never, and I was feeling that way also with my radio show since early on. I guess that's why I started faxing the playlists, to like give shouts to like, here, this is the music I play. I went as far to go to my local record store and I told them, is it okay if I hang up my playlist? Of course, I wanted them to know about my show, but I also wanted to see, this is the music that I like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same with the emails that I sent out, and that's how people got into. So started selling that. And then around 2011, because I had people from XM who then, became frequent listeners on the podcast and it grew all over. People started asking, it's like, Lars, can I send you, like, can I donate money or something? Like there were literally, I think, one or two people, can I send you, like, can I PayPal you something? I don't know if I even had a PayPal yet.
And this is all still South Africa?
No, this is just the timeline. Now we're back in the US. Now we're back on deepershades.net.
Okay.
I mean, South Africa was just crazy. I played crazy gigs to the point where the first night, actually, somebody wanted the shirt off my back and I actually did it, but that was only one time. It happened many times after, but I never did it again because it got really cold. I think I even got a flu there. I had a really bad flu during that trip. I played like sleeping 9 hours, then playing 2 and then sleeping 20. Anyhow, it was a great trip. Amazing. People loved what I did. Everybody knew Deeper Shades. I'm like, this is nuts. So yeah, it must have played on a station there. I think some people even, I heard somebody say they sold CDs on the Johannesburg markets with my show on them.
Okay.
Because you couldn't download. 2010 download is a really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
People were asking, how can I download on BlackBerry? I never had a BlackBerry. It was my biggest, I don't know. I said, if I could have figured out how to do BlackBerry downloads back then, it probably would have been even bigger.
Yeah, somebody asked me the one time, and we discussed this over dinner, that there was a time when you see a lot of people in South Africa, going back a few years now. I'm sure the internet systems are much more advanced, but people wouldn't share videos or because of their bandwidth restrictions, they would just literally post up the titles of tracks as if to say, yeah, this is great, you should watch this kind of thing. Does that sound about correct?
Thing. I don't know if that's the reason. What I see a lot still happening is somebody's literally just copy pasting a line of my playlist and then putting it in a comment to the show on my Facebook.
Right. Okay. I get you.
So I'm thinking that that's just them saying this is what I really dig.
I get you. Okay, so I won't take you off the line of thought. You started talking about the whole PayPal thing.
Yeah, So I really liked South Africa and it was a great thing. And I tried to make it happen again sooner than I maybe should have to go back. And I got burned a little bit, but then, my man Christos basically picked up and he was the one who brought me out first, and then he helped me out a lot after as well, and he's like still my main man. Anyway, that's South Africa. I came back, the website, I kept it all going. Obviously now I knew there's a massive audience and I saw that in my numbers, and it's crazy. It's like deepershades.net traffic 75% is still from South Africa.
Right.
It's been like that forever. And I think that also is why I do a lot of free stuff, free downloads. So that goes back to the point where I'm saying I can't sell this show. It's not my music to sell. It's not a compilation or whatever. It's a radio show. So as such, I make it available for you to listen to it. I'm not asking you to pay anything for it. Right? So here comes somebody emailing me, hey, Lars, I would like to donate a little bit of money. Token of appreciation, if you will. I'm like, okay, I don't know how that works. Let me look into it. And PayPal from the very early time had like a donation button, which obviously, tax code wise, it's not a real donation. I'm not a nonprofit, I still have to claim it as income tax. But they always had a donate button. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Let me put that on my website. And I put that on my website and a few people gave a little bit of money here and there. I was like, wow, that's cool. Then the person, I think it was the same person who asked me initially, how can I send you some money, said, is there a way where we can make this happen like automatically? Like it was literally a suggestion from somebody, like is there a way where I can just send you money every month without any complications, where it's just like happening. I'm like, let me look into that. So they like PayPal had subscriptions. You can do recurring payments, monthly recurring payments. I'm like, that's what we're talking about. Started doing a little bit of research. I'm by no means early with this because by that point, or at that point, I started, researching. I wasn't big on listening to podcasts, but I like knowing what's happening in the podcast world. So Adam Curry, they call him the Podfather. He was no, is it Adam Curry? Am I right here or wrong? Yes, I think. He was a MTV host and then decided to do a radio program and make it available on an iPod automatically, podcast, right? Like kind of in an RSS feed where you basically say, I want this, and it downloads. He was kind of the inventor of that whole thing. Okay. So he had several podcasts. And for one, he was looking for knights. And these knights were his donors. A knight, like a knight in shining armor. Okay. A knight. Yeah. So that was his thing. That was his like crew, family, army, whatever. And you could get different levels. And these levels were crazy. I mean, he had like his top people were like donating $5,000. And I was like, what? That's mad, and it's just, but then it's like, okay, it's Adam Curry and, he knows what he's doing. So people are probably really in it. And I was like, I can do that. So I started with the silver level. I don't know, bronze sounds like nothing. Right? Silver is good. Did a silver level. It's like $5 a month. You can do a silver plus, which is an annual. It's $50. You're saving money if you think of it that way, right? But I'm not selling you anything other than you're really appreciating my time and you're helping out and you are the one making happen what I do.
You're making it possible. You're funding it to a degree.
So I went on top of that and I created a gold level, which then makes you an executive producer of an episode of a Deeper Shades of House episode, which is true. Look at all the Hollywood movies, right? An executive producer there are many different ways you get involved. It's not like you're telling somebody this is what's happening when. It's financial support. It's whatever. It's like one of those titles. So you become an executive producer of a Deeper Shades of House radio show and a gold member for 1 year. You get a 30% discount on all my merch, which you can get at shirts.deepershades.net. And
sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Where can you get it?
Shirts.deepershades.net.
Wonderful.
Yes. And, there are quite a few other perks, right? But you become an executive producer. As such, you get mentioned at the beginning of the show, at the very end of the show. And it's the only name I ever shout out. I don't do shout outs during my radio show. Okay. I learned early on if I start that, because it's meant as a podcast, Deeper Shades of House, or as a radio show, not necessarily as a live program with call-ins, right? Because it's aired all over at different times. So even me announcing my DJ gigs is usually complicated, but of course I, still do that. But I don't mention names. I don't do shout outs or whatever. So the only way to get your name mentioned is really becoming a gold member. Mm-hmm. And so people are doing that and people appreciate it because people have different levels of bank, and
so that started in 2011.
11 is basically 2011. I started the Deeper Shades premium subscription program.
10 years ahead of the curve. And now you see so many people talking about it. Many people will be aware of my own subscription.
Ghost, they've been doing drip for quite some time now. Have you heard of Drip FM?
I don't
It
even know
was
who
based
Ghost are.
Ghost Recordings. It's like a techno label from Chicago, but it's
Okay.
also is it Ghost International? Is that what their name is?
I don't know, mate.
I'm spacing out. They're also actually releasing the Minecraft music, which of course I only know because of my son.
Because of your son. Right. Okay.
Yeah, very cool. But anyway, so they've been doing Drip FM, which is basically a subscription program for record labels. So you had like Dirty Bird and those kind of
Yeah.
guys on there, and basically every month you can give your subscribers music, and everybody who's a subscriber can have access to a back catalog which you enable on the back end, and they make all that happen. So that's been around probably since 2014 or so, but and they do it on a professional level where they actually let people sign up for it.
And Bandcamp, you can do that on Bandcamp now.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So all of those things are really the way to go.
And
And
so with the Mixcloud Select,
yes,
you have that as well. And it's funny because you're reaching out. It gives you the opportunity to know that the people value your worth, which is what you said at the beginning, right? And if you break it down, you're talking about £5 a month. What's that?
$5.
125 per show if you're doing a show a week. It's crazy when you think
if you count it that way, sure. But you can't break it down that way because it's a token of appreciation, right? I literally say on my show, it's like, if we ever meet, do you would probably buy me a beer or you would buy me a coffee. Hey, exactly. Lars, I really like what you do. Let me get you a drink. Happens in the club I can't drink all the drinks people want to buy me in the club, right? I can't.
I used to.
No, it's, oh man, what are you drinking, right? So what are you drinking? So I'm saying that's basically, think of it that way. You buy me a cup of coffee a month. Here, Lars, I like what you do. And again, I have different tiers because I have not different level of appreciation. That's not it. You don't give me more money because you like me more. You can afford it. It's not like, I keep saying, it's like people are like, oh, Lars, I'm gonna become a premium member soon. I'm like, don't worry about it. As long as you listen and as long as you let your friends know, I'm sure it's going to trickle down somehow. And this goes back to reach, right? I'm sure it's going to trickle down somehow. If you tell 10 people, one person might sign up. It'd be great if all 10 do, but one is still better, so you made one person sign up by letting them know.
So how long did it take you to pick up momentum and to build the subscription base until it was like a decent rolling beast within itself kind of thing?
It built up quite a few people, because it was new, and they stuck with it. And I still have a few, actually, a handful who are subscribers since back then. And I had to take it more serious. There was a time when the show wasn't on XM and it was basically just an online thing, right? So it was up to me when I recorded.
Right.
And that's dangerous because if you don't, it's like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. It's okay. I'll do it the next day. There's nobody saying, Lars, where's the show? But when I saw, it's like, okay, there's a good amount of people who keep subscribing, even though I haven't done a show like in a month. Let me get serious about it. So I started to make, I had the live broadcasts already. I started those in 2009, but I wasn't scheduled. It was kind of like, let me go live while I record my mix because it's fun. Right? But at a later point, when the subscriber numbers became high enough for me to say, which wasn't high, but it was like, okay, if there's 10 people giving me $5 a month, I better give them some shows.
Yeah.
And so I turned my live everything, I think I don't know the year at all, into a regular, recurring, scheduled live broadcast. Catch me every so-and-so, and I record my mix. So I have my show on the right day.
Mm-hmm.
So I make the subscribers happy that they're actually getting the show that they're expecting. And at the same time, I doubled down my efforts and my concentration on the premium program, basically mentioning it more, pushing it more. The gold thing came a while later. But I think once the gold thing also added the gold membership, it paid like it drew some attention because people would hear their name on the show.
Okay.
You know, but it's everything I do. It's a big sandbox. Everything I do, it's like my radio show, my brand, even. You know, I try things out and I just let it ride until it either gets too complicated or I see it's like the time I put in is not coming out. You know, so everything grew together.
But first,
Even though the what?
No, sorry, carry on.
Oh, even though, you know, the high numbers from South Africa are not at all reflecting the subscriptions from South Africa because of the financial level,
of course,
which is totally understandable. Number one, it took them quite some time to even have a decent PayPal connection with their banks. And that has to do with a lot of international money laundering laws and all that kind of crap, right? So they couldn't, even if they wanted to, they couldn't really subscribe because their banks wouldn't let them.
Right.
And even then, $5 is a shitload of money in South Africa.
Of course, of course. What I was going to say was, without interrupting you, was the fact that first and foremost, though, you are still sharing the music and you're still putting the shows out because you love to do it and it's part of who you are and you have to do it.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, that's what I was saying on top of the show, right? I make myself problems. Not literally. I make myself so busy. I'm like, okay, I'm not already spending I don't know how many hours a week on Deeper Shades. Let me add 2 more life programs. Right? Let me add more.
I'm exactly the same myself now. Yeah. It's not that I'm so crazy busy, but you know, my output in the last few months has skyrocketed because I just so many. It's a phrase I use. There's an itch that I need to scratch to you know, please my own curiosity and play with all these toys and.
It's fun.
We will get into the tinkering in a little while. And one of the things that I've noticed now, my voice is in sync perfectly. You, for some reason, is out of sync now, only ever so slightly. It's annoying as hell. Yeah. It's annoying as hell. It was fine before, you know. But you know, there we are.
Wait, let me see.
No, it isn't you. I don't think it's you. I think it's me.
No, it is me. It's me. It's all me. Always me.
Always you. Let me look on Zoom. On the Zoom, you're in. Do me 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
No, see on Zoom you're fine. On the OBS, there's something to do with the window capture.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we covered about the subscription. Is there anything else that you wanted to get to that we didn't discuss? Because I want to start getting into this whole streaming thing, the tips and the tricks and the pitfalls that you found along the way to become the god that you are right now.
I think I got it. I only have one so far. There's going to be a platinum membership.
Okay.
Which is basically it's a higher price level. That person becomes an executive producer of one of my releases on my own label.
Okay.
So it's basically it's making it possible that I will release this song as part of my entire label product, which is you can go to Bandcamp and you can download it for free if you want to. But you can also decide to pay something.
Okay.
And if I have an executive producer who's going to pay me up front for my release, I can basically just go all free if I want to. Mm-hmm. You know, I want to have that freedom because again, going to South Africa, for instance, I have a huge following, especially for my releases, and it's a lot of young kids. They're listening to the music on their mobile phone, not even on a speaker, on the mobile phone with like 10 kids. standing around in the neighborhood listening to the music. I'm not going to ask them to spend $2 for a song and then, because they also got to pay for the data to download it.
Yeah.
So they can go to my Bandcamp, deepershades.bandcamp.com, and you can basically check out the releases and you can say, okay, I'm going to download these for $0, or if I can put in an amount and buy it for that amount.
And let's break that down, not specifics, but generally most people, a lot of, I mean, you were very vocal with this. I remember going back a couple of years now, you were saying, this is for free, but I would appreciate if you showed some love. And it was like nobody was. And not only in South Africa, everywhere, all territories. It was like nobody felt like it was like, well, hold on a minute. You question your worth, right? Surely at some point.
It wasn't that part. Actually, the Bandcamp thing was more of a result of the situation. Okay. It was... I pushed into Bandcamp and I pushed into this pay if you want model. I'm trying to...
What, you're trying to be diplomatic?
The time I put into promoting a release on certain online stores...
Yeah, he's trying to be diplomatic.
I could go full force, which I did a few years ago. But I'll do that on my talk podcast, which is going to happen eventually in the future. I got to start with a bang,
Okay. Right. Okay.
No, so certain stores just don't care. Most stores just don't care. I just keep it general. And you put in a lot of time and money. Sometimes you pay a PR company. Sometimes you think I can do that yourself, right? So, but it takes that much more time and nobody's paying you for that time, right? Face it, you don't sell that much music that you can
recoup. Yeah. Justify.
So I basically, that was when the worth question came. And that's when I really kind of hit a block and I kind of stopped releasing on the label for a minute. It was like, okay, I'm putting in 8 hours a day. I'm sharing this link everywhere. Of course, there's the illusion of online promotion where you're actually thinking everybody's going to see it, which is a lie. You're lying to yourself. You're like, oh, I'm doing a good job. You're not doing shit. You're just sharing a link. 5 people see it. They're not going to go. It's a 1% conversion rate, right? Think about it. If you show it to 500 people, maybe 5 are going to buy it. So if you show to 5, anyway, I was like, this is not worth it. It was like, okay, I'm sharing this everywhere. And at the end of the day, a brand new release, I sold 1 copy. I'm like, that's dumb.
This is on the well-known streaming platforms.
This was on a store, online store.
Yeah.
This was on.
Nobody would believe that.
I have most stores. Most stores connected through a distributor, but I have one store besides Bandcamp where I can see the actual sales, right? Like a direct thing. And I commented on that. And then the owner called me and ranted and just, okay. And so I basically said, screw this. It's not worth it. They only care about the big labels, the big names who are going to sell automatically. And that's the opposite of what I wanted to do with the label, because the label was also for artists who don't get an outlet somewhere, just like the show. Right? Yeah, I have some household names as remixers or whatever, but original releases, especially from South Africa, I've put quite a few releases out by producers who became much bigger at a later point, maybe their first or second release even, and other people may have not. But of course, they don't sell that well because these stores push what makes them money, which is legit. Everybody needs to take care of their business. But in the end, that turns into a selection. It's like a buyer in a record store, right? If the buyer only buys drum and bass, then you can't go there for a deep house record. Right. So what ends up on the front pages is all the same shit, right? It all gets washed down. So you're putting in so much time. I'm ranting again a little bit. You're putting in so much time to promote your release. What happens is they look at your release, but then on the right side, they see the 10 biggest that are selling the most. They're like, oh, let me check that out because I know that producer. I don't know this. It's just a thought, right? And then they're going to buy and they're going to start shopping at the store while leaving the reason why they came
all about
there.
you. Yeah. Yeah,
So
but I don't think that's the store's fault. I mean, I've got
it's not the store's fault.
I got to play devil's advocate.
Absolutely not. But here's the idea, right? Why not add a little incentive where if somebody is coming to your store because of my label release and my link out of my email, I get an affiliation. I get a small percentage of whatever this person is going to buy during this shopping trip.
Great idea.
It's a flip of a switch. Mm-hmm. Super easy. But instead, it's all smoke and mirrors. Oh no, we have these charts. You're in these charts now. You may want to let everybody know that you're in these charts that we created while sipping a margarita. You know, it's so I like Bandcamp because it goes to the thing is I sent my people to my store, to my music.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I sell in this moment counts. And me personally, I have the ideal situation. I have a Deeper Shades of House radio show, so I can send people everywhere on top of that, right? Which I do. I do playlists for every show. So that was just that part, why I did that Bandcamp thing. I was really like, okay, I'm putting in so much time. In the end, why did I start a label? Because I wanted people to hear the music. So why am I putting a $1.99 paywall in front of this music for people who really may not be able to afford it? I'm not saying the majority can't. The majority probably could, right? But I know where most of this music is going to end up, and I want to give them the opportunity. Plus, I give other people who may really appreciate even the notion that they could download it for free. And they say, okay, you know what? I could download it for free, but here's $2.
Yeah.
Or 5 or 10. Or 50.
Does that happen often?
No, I get like a...
Is that beer?
I get like a 15.
Is that beer?
No, that's iced tea. No, that's iced tea. I had ice cubes in there. I kind of timed it out. It was like, okay, it's gonna be nice and cold by the time I'm done with the coffee.
Okay.
So yeah, that goes back to the whole thing where I like to give it out, make it available. I want people to hear the music. If 5,000 people download it for free, I wish 5,000 people would have paid for it, but they probably wouldn't have. But at least at this point, they heard it.
Exactly. A friend of mine commented on his Facebook wall only yesterday, saying 3,000 streams on Spotify, something like 30 pence or something like that, and he'd like roll his eyes.
No, that's a lot of money.
Or whatever.
It's less.
Whatever it was. I don't even remember. But whatever he said, and I said, don't focus on the minuscule amount of money. Focus on the fact that 3,000 people have listened to your music. Surely.
So during this whole situation where I got frustrated, I've had this thing in my head, even a little before. It's like, we have to figure out how to sell music without selling the actual music. It's like, whatever that can mean, like, figure it out for yourself. You know, everybody's like, here's my new release. Here's the link to this store. That's as far as it goes, right? So we're basically, okay, I'm going to go there because I know you. I'm going to check it out. And if I like it, I buy it. But in the end, it's like most music in our genre is to be mixed, right? Mm-hmm. It's like there's a 7-minute track with a 2-minute intro and a 2-minute outro. Who wants to hear that without a DJ mix? DJs, because of the whole internet situation, I love to generalize. I know there's going to be people jumping on my back. We're all kind of entitled. It's like, oh, you didn't send me the promo, I'm not going to play it. That kind of shit, you know?
It's like
happen.
We're all too... Surely that doesn't happen anymore.
No, of course not. We're all too good. We're all too good to... So it's there's so many situations like that. I'm just like, take the music, play it or leave it or whatever, you know? I just want to hear. And again, it's the reach. It's like if 5,000 people hear it and there are going to be 50 people moved to the point where they're like, holy shit, let me download the entire catalog. Again, maybe it's still for free. Now you probably have like a real fan who's then going to move on to something more tangible because we're talking about, or I'm talking at this moment only about digital music, right? You need to have something that connects the person to you or to your music. That's what a fan artist relationship is. It's like I love nurturing, I love responding to almost anything online. It's my entertainment. I love it, right? And sometimes it's interesting, sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's, but I like keeping people like, just talking to people, and you can do the same thing with the music and with the interaction and with how we're talking about the chats, right? Where like if you do like a live show, now you're really, I think, like you're really in the room with the people.
Yeah.
You're getting to know them. That's what I love about what you're doing or what we're doing in general. It's like you let people in your house. Yeah, it looks nice. We made sure it's framed nicely and all that. But by the way people act, it's beyond just playing the music. Now you're getting to know the person.
Yeah. Totally. And I've gone a step further not a step further. I actually now do I do my weekly radio show, but then once a month I do a Zoom room where it's broadcast purely over Zoom.
That's fun. That is fun.
And
I haven't gotten into that yet.
It's good.
It's like,
I did the first one at the end of April. It's fantastic. I came away feeling so enriched by the people that were relatively few people in front of me, but every one of those we connected, and it was beautiful. Some of the people are here with me in the chat now, and it was incredible. And
I love that, because you again, you're together. You don't, of course, it's like physically together and all that. It's all great and whatnot, but this is a different level. And this whole pandemic situation, created different relationships, rekindled in a way certain relationships across further distances because you only had this kind of communication anyway. You wouldn't necessarily only hang out with your local friends because you have this online thing. So let me call my friends across the pond, so you can do the same thing even more in like a chat, like you said, a Zoom room, or a Twitch chat. All of a sudden you're like, oh, you're from there, or you're that person. You're making friends. It's like a music conference. It's like you go into the Weekender without all the real fun.
Indeed, with all the real fun. So yeah, that is definitely the way forward, and a lot of other people are jumping on the bandwagon. Probably is the wrong phrase to use, but people are slowly catching up with that. I'm catching up. I'm 10 years behind you, but I'm getting involved, and it is interesting when I've faced challenges when putting that to people. Some of the people, they, how can I frame this? Some of the people, when you're explaining to them what I am offering to them, for example, let me put it bluntly, Vocal Booth Weekender, I've created a program, a subscription program, laid it down on the line what people can get by paying £10 a month. They pay £10 a month, but from that £10 a month, a £5 of it goes into a prize draw, and every month someone gets a big pot of money.
That's cool.
So that's one thing. When I laid this out to people, I was met with more not abuse, people saying, well, hold on a minute, if we aren't involved, what are we missing out on? Not about, what are we getting if we can be involved? What am I missing out on if I'm not involved? And it really confused me,
you need to, it's the typical, you got to figure out your sales pitch, right? You get a paywall situation that's what it can sound like to people. It can be complicated.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, why are you withholding this from us?
Yeah, and that's what I faced, and I did have to
Yeah,
redress it slightly.
we're part of your family, and now all of a sudden you're shutting the door.
Yeah, exactly that.
You gotta have them look at it from the other side.
But knowing that your intentions are pure, it's a bit it
Oh, it
can
goes beyond that. They don't care.
yeah, you can take. I
It's
did
about
take it.
them. It's
I
all
took
the
it very
question.
personally, but I'm over it now.
No, but listen how they ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
It's about them. It's not about you. But you got to be like, well, listen, the doors. I'm not trying to close the doors, but the building you're looking at might collapse if you're not helping.
Mm-hmm. That's
That's
a great way of putting it.
because I mean, look, I just did my Broken Beat special on my Monday live broadcast, my collection, all vinyl. I did a Broken Beat special. I was talking about Domu. Dominic gave up making music because people wouldn't buy it. And brilliant producer.
And then and then more, you know.
Yeah, yeah, more people. And it's like putting out an album, brilliant music, and with tools like Bandcamp, where you can see immediately when somebody bought your music, right? With tools like this, we still catch people. I have a Bandcamp, it's called Bandcamp Deep House group on Facebook, where we share links like record labels, they can share their stuff in there. And there's the occasional person who's going to answer, "Ooh, cool release, copped it or got it or grabbed it or whatever." And then the owner's messaging me was like, "Yo, I looked up, nobody bought that track today," or no, that person. So this kind of shit, now you can find out. Everybody can say, and that's what I learned also is happening a lot on Facebook. They go, "Oh yeah, listen, I loved it. Oh, I bought it, I loved it. Oh yeah, I just ordered one of those things." Now you can see what happens, and he basically saw, I don't know how or whatever, I don't remember the exact situation, but he was basically like, "This is bullshit, I'm done."
Mm.
It's like nobody swag. I think the same thing happened with swag when they did some digital stuff, or I don't remember. Either way, it's just there's the shark again.
I've got no fucking idea where that's come from.
Is that the baby shark dance?
I've no idea where it's come from. It's some Stream Elements nonsense. Anyway, okay, so let's get into the streaming tips and pitfalls that you've experienced down the years. Oh, shout out to! Can you give a shout out to Biopic, please? A big fan of yours, Marlon. He's there.
Yeah, of course, Marlon, man, dope music. He's been like just banging out some stuff. Big shout out.
Good.
Yeah, nice. For sure. Yeah, I just played a new one last week on last week's show. 7:35, I think. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice to hear.
So pitfalls. Well, so I've been with the streaming thing for a while, right? Basically in '98 when we started the first internet station in Germany, it was all live. There were no archives. It was Windows Media Player. We barely had anybody listening because the internet connections were still bullshit. Oh, it wasn't ISDN, DSL. That's what I was thinking of. So I had, yeah. And so most people still had like a slow line, like a fax line, kind of a modem. Mm-hmm. But it was mostly live, but you didn't have many listeners. So if you want to do a live program, you gotta fight through no viewers or no listener moments. And the same thing with anything online, really, because the biggest thing is continuity and consistency.
Yeah.
And you will reach a moment, you can be the most motivated person. You will reach a moment where you are just, you feel like you're done because it's like, why am I doing this? It's the why. Why am I even wasting my time? Monday blues, it's the industry blues. Why do I even bother? Nobody gives about anything I do. So you have to fight through that. And for that, I make schedules, right? And you just gotta stick with it. And you gotta see if there's nobody, eventually we're going back to reach. it ended up in front of somebody's face who's going to be into it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, you got to be you, ideally, or you got to be a good actor and you got to stick with whatever you present, right? But consistency and timing, and for that, I made the live schedule for my mix recording, because it's the only way I can keep my show pumping out. And without me doing that, I slack myself. People are going to drop off naturally, because they're going to find something else. And then your whole thing is slowly going to fall apart. This probably will happen much slower than I imagine in my nightmares. Because, when you're like a self-employed or self-motivated, or you always feel like if you're not doing anything, whatever that looks like, you feel like you're slacking. You're like, oh no, I should be doing this. I should be doing that. But yeah, continuity. That's the biggest thing. Technical challenges. It's the basic DJ idea, or anything really. You got to know what you're doing.
I got to get rid of this flipping shark. Carry on talking. I know how to get rid of it.
I like this shark.
I can't
By
stand.
the end of this, I know the choreography.
He's going to come up. He's going to start doing that dance at the really most inopportune moments. I'm sure he is. So I'm just going to get rid of it. Carry on talking. Yeah, the technical issues. I found out
every week.
You need to understand. You need to get your head around the speed of the computer, the speed of the internet, all that kind of thing, don't you? Right?
And Murphy's law. You gotta deal with Murphy, because Murphy is always there. Whatever can go wrong will eventually go wrong.
Yeah.
And
you had that
you
last
have
night,
to be
right?
somewhat. What?
You had that last night, starting off your show.
It's always something. But again, I'm creating more problems for myself. It's not like I'm only doing a live stream and I'm doing the mix and I'm hosting and I'm recording it. And I also have an online radio station going at the same time. That's also going 24/7. Radio.deepershades.net. Radio.deepershades.net.
Okay, so
I have
repeat
all this
that, what you
going
just said. You got something going at the same time. I'm just going to refresh that window. We're good to go.
Yeah. What? No, I have the radio network going. I have the live stream going on all the different platforms. So I need to make sure I have like signal checks and all that. And on top of that, I decided, oh, you know what? I have that big window back there right behind me. I can put down my blinds and I can project on it. But for that, I need to use another computer, which is a Mac Mini under the table, which then has another HDMI output, which then goes into my mixer that shows the different cameras. Right? And that had a problem. So like I'm saying, I'm creating problems for myself. I'm like, this is probably running way too smoothly. Let me add some shit. But then, there's a camera that doesn't work all of a sudden, because it's a little bit of a Frankenstein situation here. I have a cam link, which is like one of those USB things where you just put it in to your computer and it has an HDMI. You can basically put anything as an input.
An Elgato, is it?
Is an Elgato cam link. I have that. That's for one of my cameras.
Okay.
Sorry that it's shaking. It's my leg here. Then I have a Blackmagic Ultra mini recorder, which is like whatever was before Camlink Elgato. It's a, Blackmagic, of course, it's a much higher level company. It's also HDMI, and then it's actually an old Thunderbolt 2 that I need to put into a Thunderbolt 3 that then goes into my computer. Wow. And then on top of that, I have this ATA Mini that is the switcher I have right in front of me. And that has 4 inputs, right? And they all go into my Wirecast. And in my Wirecast is basically the professional solution, the solution for the professional broadcaster. Like OBS, you can do the same thing with OBS, I think, right? And OBS is open source, so whoever starts, it's all about tinkering. I love tinkering. It's so much fun. And So I create a playlist, and this playlist then is rotating between my cameras that are not on this ATEM Mini, the other ones, right? I can rotate between one of these and my two side cameras.
Mm-hmm. Like an auto
And that
switcher.
goes, yeah, it's like it's a playlist.
Mm-hmm.
I created a playlist and I copied the shots and I made the length for every shot different. So it looks like a random switch.
Okay.
If it's all 5 seconds, after 30 seconds, your brain knows.
Yeah.
But if the first shot is 40 seconds, the second shot is 18, the third shot is 45, the fourth is 25, it's like, and then you keep repeating it, you just mix it up, and then your brain has no idea that it's actually an automatic loop.
Mm-hmm.
So that's happening. And then also on my computer, while I DJ, I have an ATEM Mini remote software, so I can switch these if I want to. Mm-hmm. On my computer without having to touch this.
And that's just the nerd in you, though, isn't it? Because primarily, and I'm the same as well, maybe not to the depth of that, but first and foremost, people are there to listen to the music. They don't give a shit about how many cameras you've got.
No. However, I feel that Facebook and Twitch, Facebook mostly, analyzes your video and puts it in front of more people if there is a different kind of movement.
The shark's got to come back.
The shark's got to come back. No, I'm not even kidding. It's like because I see an entirely different. I experiment sometimes and just put like my logo or the starting screen, and I had a starting screen that was just an image.
Okay.
And it would show up only in front of like 10 people, 20 people, whatever. But if I would jump right into it, it would go to higher numbers. I have many wild theories. Because there's algorithms anywhere.
It's crazy. The algorithm
everywhere.
is insane.
Everywhere.
I don't focus on the number of people that we have. I do draw reference to it a lot because it is a challenge. It is a challenge that we have. Sure. I mean, I have a very strong network of people who I know support everything that I do. That's how we've built up the Vocal Booth Weekender. And yet, there should be so many more people watching this right now. For whatever reason there aren't. Is that because it's not because they're not seeing it? I mean, it's not because they don't want to watch it. I think they're just not seeing it.
Right. Exactly. It's not in front of them. That's why, okay, let's go back to the website. What else is good? What else used to be used for good marketing is email marketing. That's still the thing.
Most definitely.
Because it shows up and it's like, oh, okay. You just read the subject. If the subject is basically telling you what's happening and you're really interested enough, that's when you look at it, Facebook, you're leaving it up to somebody else to decide how interesting you are. And I'm not, it's a great tool. I don't know how many visitors Facebook is bringing me every day because I got all my shit automated too. I basically, when long after I'm gone, there's still going to be posts about releases and stuff on all these groups.
You're going to be freaking people out. So you're like, what?
I know, my God.
Back from the grave.
No, but but try to do as much direct again as possible. If you have a mailing list, you can mail somebody. It's a much more personal situation.
It is, but the issue that I have, the mailing list that I've created is a mailing list attached to an event that I run. Right. And those people will turn around and say, Andy, you know what? I don't really. Some of them will be like, "Why are you mailing me? I'm signed up because I enjoy your party once a year, not because I want to see you sitting in that big white chair talking to people once or twice a week." So it's very. So I am building up a new mailing list now.
You need a different reduction.
No, I don't know. That's just me, mate.
I'm sitting in my chair talking to people.
That's just me. I'm very
very transparent. No, but I'm very transparent. I feel similar. It's better to sell oneself short than to be like boasting, "Oh, you better tune in."
Yeah.
But I think what you do is mostly not mostly. What you do is interesting on as a long-term content. And we were kind of talking about this earlier, shouting out people on the chat and whatnot. When I do my Wednesday live broadcast for my mix, I talk, I say hello before, and I say goodbye after. There's 1 hour of me just mixing it up behind the decks. And maybe I say what up in the chat, everybody's still alive, right? If I do my Monday show, which is all vinyl, I started doing the engagement with the chat thing, and it's great, and people like it, and we have a really it's turning, like you said, like your Zoom room, right? It's turning into a really nice community. But the long term aspect can be a little much when you're listening in 2 months and you're just listening and you don't see anybody in the chat, and you're like hearing me comment on like, oh yeah, 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 I just did a water change on my fish tank. You don't, do you know what I'm saying?
I
It's
totally
like
get it. I listen to DJs who they're commenting to their chat room, not on Facebook, on a radio station that I do, and they'll be playing a record and they'll be sort of like, "Yeah, Tony, I know what you're saying, mate. It's crazy, isn't it?" And
exactly,
there's
exactly,
no reference point to it.
no reference
Every
whatsoever.
time I open the microphone, I will
Yeah.
say, "Oh, Cassandra is saying, yeah, Cassandra loves the stream. She's helped me connect. Nice one, Cassandra. Amazing. It's
Right,
great to have you."
right. I like that. Yeah, that's,
That's the way you got to do
and
it.
I have the energy for the first 10 minutes. After that, I'm like, no, I'm here to DJ, bro.
Yeah, I'm the other way around. You see, for me now, as you know, the DJing, the shine went off it. So I love it is all about the music. I mean, look,
Yeah.
I
No,
am
I
all
know.
about the
Yeah.
music, but it's that connectivity, the
Oh,
laugh, the
I'm with you.
jokes.
I would love to clone myself. So I could DJ and I could produce and I could host.
You said last night I need an intern.
Yeah, well, it's also just a saying, right? Because I don't want anybody here.
Yeah.
It's like I'm like when I'm stressed out on Wednesdays at 9:45 or 10:40. No, yeah, 10:40 I come out of the shower usually. I get everything ready, then I take a shower. By 10:40 I still don't know the first song I'm playing. But that's when usually the technical problems arise. And Mondays are chill because I just play whatever. It's a fun thing, but Wednesdays it is the mix for my show. Wednesday counts,
Uh-huh.
right? So, but it's so much fun. I love the connection and the people know. And then new people who come in, they get kind of like the information from the people who are already familiar. They're like, yeah, man, it's like there's no playlist. He doesn't do track IDs. Come back on Friday. That's when the track list, that kind of stuff. That's when it gets really cool. It's like when they communicate amongst each other and you can just throw in a tidbit, but you're part of it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you're all hanging out. They're basically all here in my studio.
Yeah.
Like everybody who watches me is right in here with me. And I don't need to turn up the music because they're talking loud,
Uh-huh.
or I don't need to turn it down because they can hear each other. We can all communicate, listen to the music at our own volume, maybe get up and dance. So again, that's the whole online thing. But yeah, what's the topic?
No,
Complications?
yeah, we were just talking about the
Deal with it. That's
tips.
all.
We're just having a great
Yeah.
conversation here. It's very interesting for me to hear. I know the people who are here now are going to be loving it, and we do, as you are more than aware, with your 20 odd thousand subscribers, the repeat viewers coming back and taking in at their
Oh yeah.
convenience. That's what it's
Oh
all
yeah.
about as well, right?
It is. It is. I mean, you archive it later on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah.
Facebook, and then I carve
Yeah.
it. I
That's
carve it now as well.
that's the definitely the thing where you want your long-term content to live
Hmm.
is on YouTube, because Facebook, people are not necessarily going to go back archives on Facebook, I don't think. I mean, there are ways where you can really involve your fans on your pages a lot more,
Hmm.
but that I guess depends on your content. I think like this kind of content is really good on YouTube because it's also bringing search results.
Right.
Where
Let me ask you
Facebook,
about
there's no way
YouTube
to
then,
search.
without
Yeah.
being too specific, because
Hmm.
clearly it's it is very personal. With a large number of subscribers that you have, you
Hmm.
must be monetized on YouTube now. So with the large subscribers that you have, not
Hmm.
subscribers to your subscription plan, I mean actual followers on Facebook, on
Hmm.
YouTube, does that monetization work in your favor, or is it relatively? not
I
that
think
great.
it's like $8 a month.
Okay, well, you wanted to be specific. Great.
Yeah,
I was always
I want to be
curious.
specific because I want to let you know what this is about.
Okay.
So
So 24,000 followers, so to speak,
you
on your.
cannot calculate that way
No.
because of the content on my channel.
Okay, break it down for me then.
I play other people's music.
Okay.
I cannot monetize other people's music. That is what their distributor or what their publisher is doing. So
Okay.
whenever
So
I
you
play
must get
somebody
so
else's,
many flags. You must get so many copyright flags.
oh yeah, yeah. And there's a beautiful label that is quite big that has been
No.
revitalizing old labels and that has been signing distribution deals left and right. And whatever they touch pretty much gets the video blocked. I don't get copyright strikes. Those are different. These are copyright claims, which are totally fine. Again, every song I play on YouTube or on my show that is on YouTube then gets a percentage of the YouTube money to their distributor or their publisher. Okay. So I'm actually, people are getting paid. Sounds big, it's just a quarter cent or whatever. Mm-hmm. But this goes to all the different
records. Like that, really. I hadn't really thought of it in that way.
So I basically, the only thing you can really monetize is original content. Mm-hmm. And yes, a radio show per se is original, but what I use for it is not.
If this, for example, if you stripped off now and got me 20,000 subscribers on Facebook, on YouTube, so I could monetize it, and we had 100,000 views, I could monetize that, couldn't I?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so start undressing.
Yeah. No, it's, as long as there's no music, that's the problem. You would have to sing for me. And then you got to make sure what you sing is not necessarily a pop song, because then somebody can actually come later and claim your video manually for you having used 10 seconds of their song.
It's such a minefield.
Yeah, it's because all these laws are antiquated. It's like, it's old copyright laws based from the 30s, and then this millennium shit they came up with later, and it's all like everybody can claim everything. I just got my playlist flagged on Spotify because I called it Deeper Shades of House. I was like, what? Yeah, because somebody just out of nowhere, they sent me the email address. I tried to find out. Of course, Spotify, they're all donkeys, right? They're not telling you what they know because they're whatever. Mm-hmm. I have a playlist. I used to have a podcast. The podcast has been taken down because Spotify is taking down all music podcasts.
Yeah, same with me. My radio show was on there as well, and they just took it
Exactly. And I actually, after banging on the door, not physically, like via email, I got an email, which was a standard email. It makes sense. It's competing with our business model of music distribution. Mm-hmm. That is actually a legit reason why Deeper Shades of House as a radio show shouldn't be on there. Because you want people to play or hear this music on their respective artist page. Therefore, that's how you can pay them. Of course, they could just figure out what music is being played. They already have it in their distribution model. They could attribute, like, here's a quarter cent to this song. Here you go, boom. Could allow music podcasts. It would be easy peasy. Their final model is like, Joe Rogan and whatnot. They want to go big. They want to have subscription services. They want to make extra money on subscriber-only podcasts and all that. So I started a Deeper Shades of House playlist, it's literally Deeper Shades of House songs that I would play on my show, that you would hear Lars Behrenroth play on his weekly radio show, Deeper Shades of House. Got an email. They didn't take down the playlist, but they took down the title and the description because somebody claimed copyright infringement. Like a random person. What?
For your property.
For Deeper Shades of House.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, if you can prove it's yours and the other party decides not to file suit against you, we will reinstate the content after 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I gave them like my links, my Facebook verification, all these kind of things, right? And they just replied, okay, we will reinstate in 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, my playlist wasn't, not that I care or give a shit, but for 2 weeks, my playlist was not called anything. And then in the end, I just kept asking, I want to know who did this. Like, what if I want to file suit for somebody claiming this shit wrongly, right? And they just gave me the email address we got was like something something promotion 1234 at something.ru, right? And I replied, this was obviously a fake email. Somebody's trying to mess with me or whatever. Or maybe it was somebody else because I found a few other Deeper Shades of House playlists.
Right.
But that is the example right there. Right? Okay. But that is all sort.
Take some of your tea. Take some of your.
No, I love it. I love it. So YouTube, I can't monetize other radio shows. That's again why I funnel everything to deepershades.net. Yeah. I cannot monetize these shows because it's other people's music. They actually get paid for me putting it on YouTube. But then, like I said, there are record labels. They say no, we don't want anything on YouTube, and then the show gets blocked.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've had that issue myself with some of my own songs, and many.
Yeah, they did it. They did it first. Remember, it started with SoundCloud many years ago. They had the same kind of situation when they had just re-signed with. I think when they started putting out Strictly Rhythm compilations, and then somebody played it on their SoundCloud and got their account blocked. That was back in the day. Mm-hmm. Now we have the same situation with YouTube. Mm-hmm. It's like even now I started a promo show on Tuesdays, right? I have been listening to promos every Tuesday because Wednesdays I do the live mix for a few years now. I recently started live streaming it. I call it Promo Tuesdays. I'm listening to it anyway. You listen with me. We listen together. Mm-hmm. I've had instances where I actually got this. Facebook blocks or ends the stream usually every week.
Yeah.
That's that's a given.
But that's insane because it's music that surely can't already be registered anywhere on an algorithm.
Oh, of course it is. By the time you get a promo, it's already, because look, if it's on Fat Drop or Label Works or whatever, by the time you get the promo, it's already 4 weeks before release. So in theory, it's at the distributor for 6 weeks already. So the first things they do is like Shazam and all these things for music recognition. Okay. Right. So that's how I'm assuming it's happening. And of course, again, mostly by labels distributed by one of these big things. And then some misinformed people in other countries where they have been told by their attorneys, oh, no, make sure it's local only, which is total bullcrap too. Mm-hmm. But that's how videos get blocked, which again, I don't get bent out of shape because where do people go? Deepershades.net.
What was that?
Don't expect the shows to be on YouTube. There may be a few shows that are not on YouTube because YouTube is being a donkey. So go to deepershades.net because it's going to be there.
Deeper Shades not there. Do you know, or do you have a theory then, how some of these celebrities are performing for 2 hours on Facebook without getting kicked off live streams?
You can look.
You get Can you get whitelisted? Right? Can you get white? Yeah.
Yeah. So the distributors actually offer to whitelist yourself for your own releases. Okay. Right? That's a start. That's what the regular distributor offers. Like if you have like whoever distributes your music, you can tell them this is my official artist page. Make sure if I post my music, it's not going to get blocked. But that's just for your music. Yeah. As far as I know, there is nobody at the distributor who can whitelist other pages. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure you can reach somebody at Facebook and say, hey, listen, there's going to be 40,000 people watching me for 2 hours. Same is happening on Twitch, or will happen on Twitch. Some things show up on the front page. You can rent viewers, but you can also get featured by Twitch, or you naturally have this many people watching.
Yeah. Because the discoverability on Twitch is there's no shop window per se. You've got to draw the traffic to you, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, but so here the Twitch thing is, look, I loved when Facebook started doing live videos, right? Because it would show up in front of everybody's face. Literally, like, because it was new, so Facebook wanted to push the video. You would scroll, every live broadcast would show up on your stream, right? And that was cool because you had engagement. And especially as a content creator, you look at the numbers. I used to have like 180 people watching, or 200, and it's like, oh, this is cool and whatnot. If you look at the numbers in the end, you find out most of them are like 3-second viewers. It's literally nothing, and but again, it's all numbers, right? So where was I going to go with this?
We were saying about the discoverability on Twitch.
Oh, yeah. So that's what I liked about it. Twitch has none of that. Unless you follow somebody who is somehow related, your channel is not going to pop up anywhere.
No.
If you go to Twitch, you will end up looking at things that Twitch is meant for. That's people playing Fortnite, Minecraft,
Call of Duty.
For some now, what they're starting, they will show you musicians, but it's mostly going to be live musicians.
And
they're going to sit there.
Sorry, carry on.
Yes, they're going to sit there with like the ukulele. Kathy and I saw like a girl sing like she played the harp and she sang. It was beautiful. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. She had like 10,000 people watching. So these kind of concerts are being pushed because, again, it's original content. It's monetizable also for them.
Yeah.
Right? Because they can't risk. I mean, they can because Amazon is behind them. They could risk a big lawsuit, but it's just a matter. It's tolerated. We were talking about that earlier. How long is Twitch going to last?
Yeah, I was going to say, you believe the writing's on the wall for the DJ streams on Twitch.
I'm always more the pessimist, because I see how I've been in streaming in the business side too since 98 or whatever. I kind of took my distance a little bit. I'm just a user of the technology. But the thing is that Facebook has problems getting a real arrangement with record labels because it's hard for them to count the views. Right? If a video is 10 seconds long and there's 40,000 views, are they going to pay for 40,000 plays of the song?
Right.
So there's no real, I'm assuming that's one of the main issues of the agreement. Right? So Facebook is just like, okay, before we even need to worry about it, if this is any way related to WMG or whatever, it's just going to be boom. We're going to mute it or we're going to cut your live stream or whatever. YouTube, you can get cut. Oh my God, every time I play, like if I play jazz, don't forget about playing Coltrane or anything on YouTube Live. You get your stream cut like, oh,
I thought that YouTube was the really safe option to go. You clearly couldn't stream on Facebook Live. So when we did Vocal Booth last year, we were broadcasting, and I didn't actually have a Mixcloud subscription at the time because I didn't really see the point. So I went to YouTube and we were broadcasting, and a lot of the poolside sets are 80s, soul, funk, boogie.
Oh, forget
it. We were getting cut all the time, and that was news to me. I didn't realize that happened. That was I think it was 2 years ago. So that really shocked me.
I kind of forgot about it, and I just recently, like I said, I like tinkering, and after one of my live streams, I just kept the Deeper Shades Radio Network playing in the background, and I kept it playing, I think, for like 12 hours or whatnot, and it played on Twitch and I played on YouTube. And on YouTube, I actually got a community warning, almost like a step before a strike, because I didn't check on the live stream. I just let it run and we were out and about and whatnot. I got 2 emails during the live broadcast from YouTube that I'm playing copyrighted music and that the stream, that the stream is going to be muted. And I got 2 of those. And then eventually I got the email, you got a community warning and your stream has been deleted. So I don't even know what song it was, but I'm thinking, maybe it was like one of my classic house sets. I played like the Frankie remix of Michael Jackson, or something like that. So it must have been one of those. So that's YouTube. Then Twitch, as soon as you hit stop, tracks get muted within the live video. They don't interrupt. They don't cut the live stream. And I don't even know what they're using for recognition, because one of my releases, my label's releases, got flagged, and my distributor has no idea how that could have happened.
Right.
So I don't even know what they're using to flag things. However, it is being muted right after, which is the video on demand portion, which is the biggest problem, I guess, for the rights, because it's somewhat like a download where the live thing is easier to negotiate. I guess that's why Mixcloud is doing.
They're steering clear of it.
So the on demand thing is the thing that is the big problem. They have, they mute the music, but it just means that the technology is fully there, and they're just one push of a button away from being Facebook or YouTube. Or remember what happened to Instagram? Like D Nice and all these DJs like on there for like hours at a time. And then Facebook, Instagram, all of a sudden is like, this is not meant as a music playback platform. So nowadays you barely see anybody DJ on Instagram anymore.
But that's just because it's an extension of Facebook, isn't it? Really?
Right. But they did it on IG first. They're still stricter with the Instagram copyright laws or the stream cutting than they are with Facebook.
Crazy. Right. Okay. So listen, we're sitting here talking away, and I'm really happy that the people are still with us, and people will be coming back, as we've said, grabbing the content. Let's let's talk for a short while more, and then I'll leave you about your day. Where do you see it all going post-COVID?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. When is that?
I shouldn't have mentioned the COVID word. Please, let's not talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. So where do you see
so for me personally, right? Like I said in the beginning, I'm very happy with where I'm at right now. I really like the schedule I've created for myself. Of course, we want to travel again, especially as a family. We like to travel and see things. I don't know how much of the DJ travel I honestly want to do anymore. I was kind of before already getting like, it's like, when I came to Spain, it was great. It's like I had a stopover, I played, we hung out, and I went back home. Those kind of things are cool. I don't want to do the how many gigs?
Yeah.
It's like, sleep half a night, travel again, all that. I'm a little bit over that. That's for me personally. I love where I'm at. I might just expand all of this.
Yeah.
Right. In general, people are ready to party. I think it's going to be the roaring 20s. It really will be.
Yeah, definitely.
I hope people stay safe. More power to them. I'm sure I'm going to partake in some of the partying exercises, but I don't see myself doing the all-nighters and just hanging out in clubs. I think, I just turned 50, and we kind of changed a little bit with more, the networks got closer, the family got closer, it's like, okay, these are the people I really want to hang out with, or I like to have around me. I feel like the time of just hanging out with people just for hanging out's sake, but if we don't have anything to say, I'd rather, hang out with the good group of people.
Good food, nice bottle of wine.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's insane. Marlon, her biopic, just mentioned NFTs. I'm very curious. You haven't got involved, which is the other thing as well with the Clubhouse scenario. Have you got involved with that? Do you think that's got legs? Do you think it has potential, or do you think it's just more hype?
I like the idea. I don't know where it's going to go, because every platform is now doing the same thing. Now Twitter has Spaces.
Okay.
It's all the same thing. So I have not joined it. my head is already too full with, I'm like online here, online there. Now I need to be in voice. I've done my voicemail boxes. I've done all my group conference calls. Remember the ominous ways of calling mail, like bulletin board systems. So I've done all this. I've been in chat rooms with 50 people talking about computer things and whatnot. It's very cool. And I like the seminar aspect, and you can really teach people something. I haven't listened yet. If the visual aspect is not missing, I've heard there's some good comedy rooms and whatnot.
For me, I think that the issue is, personally, the issue is the fact that you have to, there again, there's no archiving of it. So if you miss it live, then that's it, you're stuffed,
I mean, you can record it.
Oh well, I'm not even going down that route. Listen, there's not enough hours in the day to
No.
listen to everything that I want to listen to without then just. I have found myself once or twice sitting on Clubhouse and thinking, why am I listening to this? I've got absolutely zero. It's that the FOMO kind of aspect. What am I missing out on? I need to be involved.
I've always been big on life. On connecting with other people. You feel like it's not necessarily like I'm agreeing, but you're like, okay, there are other people around the world doing exactly this at the same time. It's some sort of a comfort. It's kind of like when you look up to the moon and you're like, I wonder how many other people are looking right now. I think I like that aspect. Again, I like being in a chat room with like 20 other people who are into it just as much, or we have a total different topic, but we're enjoying the music together. Same, again, I want to have rather 10 people in this room physically with me than traveling around the world and having somebody asking me, so are you going to play Drake? But getting paid well for it. But that's, I'm getting older. I'm getting the grumpy kind of guy, which I always like to be I like the elder statesman. I like to sit in the back and observe and then jump into action and become the center of it all. No, but okay, NFTs. So I like crypto. I've been not big on crypto. I've scared myself too much to really have I would have gotten into deeper financially if I was a little younger. Huh?
If you could have afforded to lose it all, basically.
Well, that too. Yeah, basically when I bought crypto and I got in at a decent time, but not at all at a good time. It was basically like, okay, I could go to Vegas, right? My attitude with gambling is like, I'm only going to gamble as much as I'm really willing to afford to lose.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And this was still, when I got into this, the crypto thing, this was still, I heard about Bitcoin because of all my computer stuff way early. But I was like, dude, that is so deep. That is so deep. And the people who know about this, that's all like weird, and they're all hackers. And as soon as I get like a Bitcoin wallet, they're probably going to take all my, literally, I was thinking that, knowing some stuff about computers, because back in the day, you're like, it's our dark web and they're going to come and get you.
I got my friend Pugwash saying, what's crypto got to do with live streaming? Absolutely nothing. We've gone totally off topic.
Nothing but the NFTs.
Yeah.
The NFTs could, but that's like basically a ticket to a live stream. You could sell an NFT where the ticket is actually the artwork. You can include the music of the artist you would feature. That's just an idea I'm coming on top of my head.
Oh, okay.
And then you have an entry ticket like you were at this. That's actually a great idea for a live stream.
So like an exclusive.
It's your actual entry ticket. Obviously not for me. Nobody would care enough about that. But let's say you have like a live show of Elton John or whatever, and here's Elton John on his piano singing a song, and it's your NFT. This is the snip, some shit like that. I don't know.
You're giving away all the secrets now.
There's no secrets. That's one thing I've learned. It's like, many people say it's like, okay, I want to share this idea with you, but don't rip me off. So that's not how that works. Number one, if you have an idea that anybody else could realize, they probably already have.
Yeah.
Right. And number two, if you don't talk about it, you're not able to like bang out the kinks. You got to figure out, does this even make sense? If you have the greatest idea and people look at you like, you're like, maybe I shouldn't do this. Yeah.
Incredible, incredible. Well, listen, do you think we should wrap this up because we've been talking for 2 hours, really? I
Yeah,
think.
I can that's a whole other thing. So I have a whole talk aspect that I have to get out of my life. I love talking. I love chatting. I love this kind of format where we
You
can,
can you can
it's
join me on here whenever you want, my friend.
anytime. I
You
love
know,
this shit.
whenever
And
you
so yeah,
want
I
to.
will do a podcast like where it's just talking because many people ask similar questions and I think it's like more of a time capsule things.
Hmm.
I want to be like, okay, how did I meet my wife? How did we get our son? Because all of this has to do with music
Hmm.
and deeper shades on the big picture. Like I came up with the name with her, for instance.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you
Yeah,
what then. As soon as I'm
yeah,
finished,
yeah.
I'm gonna put a date. I'm gonna go to my calendar and I'm gonna because I interview people all the time. I'm gonna interview you. Okay.
Okay,
And then we won't do it live. We'll just do it
okay.
us, and then
I like that.
you can release it. We can have a nice intimate chat
That
like
that is
this.
a great. That's exactly how I wanted it. It's like it's so much more natural when you talk to somebody.
Hmm. Yeah. So
It's
that
like yeah, I can ramble off, but then I turn into just promoting my own shit forever.
which brings me back to the point before I finish
Deeper shades on that.
at the 2 hours. Remind people again where they can find you and why they need to find you.
Well, I mean, listen to me.
I couldn't have surmised it any
No,
better.
we have a lot of fun. Actually, okay, this is now about the live thing that because that's also very enriching for myself, right? It's we have so much fun in the chat rooms. Promo Tuesdays again was mentioned here too. Marlon was mentioning it. We listen to all the new music, but we can also shoot the shit at the same time, right? So that's one of the reasons. Number one, fun. Number two, the music's good. Number three, I'm an okay guy. Deepershades.net. Everything is on there. So when I'm live, Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, actually the live stream is right on there. The schedule pops right up. Doesn't, I don't need to run down the whole when is what happening, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Usually around this time
Mhm.
is when I'm live. And then Fridays, there's a new show, usually also around this time, deepershades.net. That's where everything is, always. And you scroll down. If you need any platform, YouTube, Twitch, Mixcloud, deepershades.net, scroll up.
Do I have to pay you for every time you said deepershades.net on the show today?
No, I should actually do that.
That's a good idea, right?
I gotta trademark a bunch of taglines and shit too.
And merchandise because
Merch.
your merch is quite sought after. I love
Yes.
that one you've got on there. Lean, stand up a bit. Let me see this black on black. Incredible. I love that. I love that. Remind me what was the website? Have you got a website?
Which one was that? Shirts.deepershades.net. That's for merch. But again, it's all at deepershades.net. And the
It's
beauty is I can make it even easier. Think about a show number and put deepershades.net/ before it, and the show pops up.
yeah.
So go to deepershades.net/700 and you get my 700 show, which is a classic house special. Every 50 shows, I do classics.
Wow.
If you go to deepershades.net/mixcloud, guess where you're going to end up on my Mixcloud. Go to deepershades.net/Twitch, deepershades.net/YouTube. You get the idea.
The man's an encyclopedia.
Everywhere.
Sir, I will press a button and kick you out of my Zoom, and
Yes.
I'm gonna say goodbye to my viewers. Thank you very much, my
Yes.
man. I'm gonna
Thank you, man. That was
so I'm going to
cool.
abruptly end you here. Carry on talking to people, and I'll send you a message later.
Alrighty. Take care.
One love.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, is that man legend, or is that man a legend? Thank you to everybody that is with me here. Let me take a quick scroll up. Got my little mouse here. See who's still around. Sandra, Jean, Cassandra, Paulette. I think I saw Marlon. There's a few people came in earlier on the show, asked a couple of questions, but I believe they have left now. Incredible. And I know there's going to be a fair few people coming back. We answered a fair few questions there, didn't we? And we got an insight into Lars. a legend, a true legend. Nothing more that can be said about that. Lucastro, I hope I pronounced your name right. Great to see you still here. Thank you very much for your eyes. Inspire and Be Inspired is the name of the channel. This is something I've been doing myself now for a few months. We're slowly building up traction. I sent out invitations to a lot of my network today, and we've been getting a hell of a lot of page follows. You can see here in the left-hand side all of the new fans, people who have liked the video. So thank you all. Thank each and every one of you. Throwing forward over the next few days, Saturday afternoon, 6 o'clock UK time, we've got another of our vocal booth quizzes. Lars is still with us, respect. Vocal booth quiz night, general knowledge at 6 o'clock. We have Team Fozzy against Team Tomo. And then on Monday, 6 p.m, we're going to be expanding more on the conversation that I've just had with Lars. But this time I'm going to be talking to two gentlemen who will give you advice on how to know your brand and how to know your tribe and how to grow it. So we're expanding more on the conversation I've just had with Lars. That's going to be really good. The art of organic growth, because all the numbers in the world don't really mean a thing unless the people who are passing through are actually listening to you and paying attention, which you all are. And I say it to you every week. I truly appreciate you for that. I will leave you to the rest of your Thursday evening. Thank you very much. And for anybody watching on a small screen, I will repeat the words I say at the end of every show. If you enjoyed that and you felt value in anything you've seen today and you'd like to help the project grow in any way, shape or form, then you can find a link to support in the video description or on the page information. All of my Access friends, you already do your fair share, so you don't need to get involved with that. Thank you so much. Right. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for being here. I'm gone.